Okay, today we're going to tackle one of the biggest questions in the art world, and it's all about this painting right here, the Mona Lisa. It's actually a lot smaller than most people think. We all know her face, but have you ever really stopped to think about why? I mean, what is it about this one portrait that has the entire world so completely captivated?
Let's just dive right into that. In a world that is just jam-packed with unbelievable masterpieces, how did this quiet, kind of subtle portrait become the undisputed champion, the absolute superstar of the art world? Well, we're going to unpack that whole mystery, piece by piece. And just to give you a little perspective on how huge her reputation is, let's talk money for a second. Back in 1962, the Mona Lisa was insured for $100 million. If you adjust that for today, we're talking over $900 million. It's basically priceless. But you know what? That dollar amount is honestly the least interesting thing about her.
Yeah, the real story, the thing that actually explains why she's so famous. It's this incredible mix of pure genius, one painter's obsession, and, believe it or not, a really dramatic crime. So let's start at the beginning, with the mind that actually created her.
The first piece of this whole puzzle starts with the man himself, Leonardo da Vinci. And for him, this wasn't just another painting to get done. No, this became a deep, personal obsession that would pretty much define his entire career.
See, the thing about Leonardo is that he wasn't just a painter. The guy was the definition of a Renaissance man. He was studying human anatomy, botany, engineering, how light and shadow work, everything. And all of that deep scientific knowledge wasn't separate from his art. No way. He poured every single bit of it onto the canvas. And that's how he made his work look so unbelievably real.
And when I say he poured his knowledge into it, I mean he also poured his time. We're talking about 14 years to finish the Mona Lisa. But get this, it's believed he spent 12 of those years working just on her lips. 12 years, just to perfect one single expression. That's not just dedication, that is a full-blown obsession.
So how in the world did he get that lifelike look? Well, he used this game-changing technique called sfumato. It's Italian for soft or blurry. What Leonardo did was blend colors so smoothly that there are no hard lines anywhere, especially around her eyes and her mouth. This is the secret sauce. This is what makes her feel like she's almost alive, like she could be in the room right there with you.
And that sfumato technique, that is exactly what creates her famous, mysterious smile. It's not really happy, but it's not sad either. It feels like it changes depending on your own mood, or even the angle you're looking from. Is she smiling, or is she hiding something? That right there, that ambiguity, is pure genius, and it's kept people guessing for centuries.
So for hundreds of years, the Mona Lisa was definitely admired by art lovers, but she wasn't a global household name. Not even close. That all changed in 1911 with one single crazy event that would launch her into superstardom.
Okay, to really get the theft, you need a little backstory. Leonardo was Italian, but he died in France, so the Mona Lisa ended up in the French Royal Collection and eventually the Louvre Museum. And that's where she stayed, pretty quietly, until one morning in August 1911, workers walked into the gallery and just found an empty space on the wall. The painting was gone, and it would stay gone for over 2 years.
And the heist itself? You're probably picturing something out of a movie, right? Lasers, elaborate plans? Nope. The thief was an Italian handyman named Vincenzo Peruggia who'd worked at the Louvre. His plan was ridiculously simple. He just hid in a closet overnight. When nobody was around, he took the painting off the wall, stuck it under his coat, and just walked out the door. That was it.
And this is the most important part of the whole story. The theft is what truly made the Mona Lisa famous. The story was on the front page of newspapers all over the world. People who had never even heard of Leonardo da Vinci were suddenly obsessed. The theft literally transformed her from an art world treasure into a global celebrity. The media frenzy was just unbelievable. And get this is my favorite part. For the 2 years she was missing, more people went to the Louvre to stare at the empty spot on the wall than had ever gone to see the actual painting. Her absence, ironically, made her way more famous than her presence ever had. It's wild.
But the story doesn't just end when she gets back to the museum. Not at all. You could say it's still being written. Because even now, 500 years later, the Mona Lisa is still giving up new secrets, all thanks to modern technology.
And that leads us to one of the biggest mysteries of all. Who is she? After all this time, all the analysis, we still don't know for sure. The woman in the painting is just as much of an enigma as her smile is. So there are a few main theories floating around. The most accepted one is that she was a real person, Lisa Gerardini, the wife of a merchant from Florence. But some people think she was just an idealized woman Leonardo made up. And then there's the really wild theory, that it's actually a disguised self-portrait of Leonardo. The mystery just keeps adding more layers to her fame. And this is where it gets really cool. Modern science lets us see things Leonardo never thought we would. Using these super high-tech scans, researchers have found tiny letters and numbers painted in her eyes. We still don't know what they mean. X-rays show us that underneath the final layer, Leonardo actually painted a slightly different smile. Oh, and maybe the biggest surprise? She used to have eyebrows and eyelashes, but they've either faded away or were accidentally scrubbed off during a cleaning centuries ago. The painting is literally layered with hidden history. So when you put all of these pieces together, you start to realize her fame isn't really an accident, but it's not because of just one thing either. She's an icon built from a perfect storm of incredible circumstances.
So what's the ultimate recipe for fame? Well, you start with the foundation of Leonardo's unmatched genius. Then you stir in his revolutionary sfumato technique. After that, you add the explosive drama of a world-famous heist. And for the final, secret ingredient, a constant dash of mystery that never goes away. That combination is what takes her from just a painting to an absolute legend.
After being stolen, attacked with a rock, and even having paint thrown at her over the years, the Louvre is taking absolutely zero chances now. Today, she sits in her own special room, protected behind bulletproof, climate-controlled glass. It's basically a fortress for the world's most valuable piece of art.
So what's the big takeaway here? The Mona Lisa's power doesn't just come from the oil paint on a wooden panel. It comes from the incredible story behind it, a story of genius, obsession, crime, and endless mystery. She isn't just a painting, she's a cultural phenomenon.
And that kind of brings us to a final thought. Leonardo spent 14 years on his masterpiece, driven by this incredible passion to create something that would last. So as we wrap this up, maybe ask yourself, what's your Mona Lisa? What can you dedicate yourself to? And what kind of unique mark are you going to leave on the world?